Bandai just released a brand new card game, Gundam, makes it their sixth card game they plan to support. Bandai has been notorious for releasing new card games that die or drop off after a few years. I mean, I don't think I've ever met someone who still plays Battle Spirit Saga, and who else remembers the Naruto card game. Suffice to say, Bandai doesn't have the best track record when it comes to card games, but they've really turned over a new leaf with Digimon and One Piece. Digimon and One Piece have been two of their most successful games ever, and they've learned a lot from their past mistakes. But does that mean you should get into Gundam? I bought a couple structure decks to find out, and after playing a few games, I have some thoughts on it. First of all, the gameplay. The basic gameplay is that you summon units to attack your opponent's shields. Each unit cannot attack the turn they come into play. You can equip pilots to your units to boost their stats and give them extra abilities. If you equip a linked pilot to a unit, then that unit can attack the turn it comes into play. A linked pilot will have its name in the bottom left corner of that unit. Basically, this just means if you match the right pilot with the right Gundam, you'd attack right away, which for lore purposes is really cool. You start the game with 6 life, aka shields. Each shield is considered to have 1 HP, meaning if a 1 attack power unit deals damage to it, then it is destroyed. Cards that are in your shield go to your trash when destroyed, or if they have a burst effect, you can trigger that, such as for most of the pilots, they have the burst to be added to your hand when they're destroyed in your shields. The player going first will draw 5 cards, and 1 card per turn, and then play a resource card. The player going second will do the same thing, but they also get an EX resource. EX resource is a token card. It gives you 1 extra resource, but once you use it up, it disappears out of the game. Your resources also determine your level. For example, if you look at this Gundam, it says level 4, but cost 3. This means you need to have at least 4 resources on your board to play it, but it will only cost 3 resources to actually play the card. This means you can have a 1 cost card, but you can't play it until very late in the game because its level is maybe 5 or 6. You also start the game with an EX base. This is another token card which protects your shield card and has 3 hit points. There are also other base cards in the game which are not tokens, which you're going to play later on. Each of them has the burst to be played if they're destroyed in your shields, and they can force you to add a shield to your hand, but with having around 5 HP and some bonus effects, these are really good cards you have to play in your deck. You are able to attack your opponent's units only if they are rested, so clearing the board is possible but may not always be the best move. Also, unlike in card games like Magic, damage is not healed in between turns. For example, if Ailstrike Gundam attacks Charzaku 2, then Ailstrike Gundam will deal 4 damage and Charzaku will deal 3 damage. Charzaku will die, but Ailstrike Gundam will live, only having 1 hit point remaining. This damage sticking around matters a lot, especially because you will take damage when attacking into opponent's units and vice versa. Some important keywords in the game are Repair, Breach, Attack, and Blocker. Repair lets your unit heal a certain amount of HP at the end of each of your turns to keep itself alive. For example, Repair 2, you're going to repair 2 hit points off of it. Next we have Breach, which is one of the strongest abilities in the game right now. Whenever a unit with Breach kills another unit, it's going to deal damage equal to its Breach to the top card of your opponent's shield area. For example, Wing Gundam has Breach 5. This means if it kills an opponent's unit, it's going to deal 5 damage to your opponent's top shield or base if they have one. This is enough to destroy every base in the game. And on top of that, if you're going to remove an opponent's unit and take the top card of their shields, that is incredibly strong. One of the best decks in the game right now, especially after it gets support from the first Gundam set, is going to be Blue-Green Breach. After that we have Attack. This is basically just when a unit attacks, it's going to get an effect. And last, just like every other Bandai card game, we have Blocker, basically being able to redirect an attack from an opponent's unit into that card. Now the more important question, is the game good? And for the most part, yeah, it is. It's simple enough to learn, but has many nuances to make the game very skill intensive. The issues I have with the game are that it's incredibly easy to destroy shields, with each of them only having 1 HP, you get a bunch of small units running quickly and do a lot of damage. This is remedied by the bases that have 5 HP, but in the games I played, I still found that whoever had the bigger board first was more likely to win. In the Digimon card game, this is a big problem back in the first year of the game, something called Rookie Rush, in which you'd have a bunch of small guys attack into your opponent's life very quickly, because it didn't matter how small they were, you were still able to take a life even with a very small creature. Now in Gundam, it's the same deal where you can have small units attack, but the bases having those big HP stats mean you're still going to want to wait until later turns, play bigger units in order to get rid of those bases. The game is very aggressive. Every deck is trying to hit as fast as possible and bring out as many units as possible. A lot of cards such as White Base and Foul Mail will generate tokens that will also help you attack. Token generation, as far as I'm aware, is a new concept for Bandai, or if they've used it in the past, it's been a long time since they've tried it out. In this game, creating bodies that can fight for you is really important, and so I find it a little odd that there are so many cards that are creating units to fight for you. The one big issue I have with the game is the EX resource the player going second gets. It is way too strong. Not even as a resource to use, but by increasing your level by 1, it gives you so much more advantage. There are level 1 cost 1 cards in the game, such as Demi Trainer, but there are also many level 2 1 cost cards in the game. This means that as the player going second, you are much more likely to draw a card you can play on your first turn. If you and your opponent are running the same amount of 1 cost units, but you have the ability to play both level 1 and level 2 units on your first turn, this means you're more likely to get a unit on the board. Also meaning you're more likely to get first blood, and you get to your bigger units faster than your opponent. It just seems that going second is way more advantageous than going first, at least for right now. Despite these faults, the game is still really fun. My issue with the shields only having 1 HP is addressed by the bases, but the one concern I have for the future is going to be too many pilots and units of the same name. Rush or Haste is incredibly strong in this game, and the only way to get Rush or Haste is to have a linked pilot with a unit. An example is Wing Gundam and Hero Yui. Sorry if I'm butchering the name, I've not actually watched Gundam before. There are currently 2 different Wing Gundams, the level 6 and level 3 one. If across a few sets they print 3 or 4 more different Wing Gundams in different colors and maybe a few more Hero pilots, you could have an entire deck of just Wing Gundam and Hero that'll make it so every pilot will link with every unit, so every unit will come in with a Rush or Haste and can attack right away. I think if this happens, where every deck just becomes 1 pilot and 5 different versions of their Gundam, the game could go in the wrong direction. Beyond that, I'm very curious to see how they go forward. I think the Gundam TCG has a great design and a lot of potential, and definitely a strong enough fanbase to support it. I don't believe they said anything yet about rotation, like what they're doing with One Piece, so we'll see what happens with that. Personally, I'm not planning on getting into the game too much. I'm going to be building 2 competitive decks for the first Gundam set and put them into my collection. I love having a box of just 2 decks for random card games that I can play with my friends. I think I might try watching the Gundam TV show or some of the old movies. They look really, really cool, and I kind of want to get into them now. But beyond that, thank you so much for watching. I know it's a shorter video than I usually do, but I really appreciate you watching all the way through. If you could like, comment, subscribe, I would really appreciate it, and I hope you have an amazing day.